watching the Anambra governorship elections. As voting continues across the Anambra state, Rice correspondent Friday Local brings us further updates about the process so far. Friday, it's good to hear you again. And what has changed since the last time we spoke? We saw the YPP candidate cast his ballot. So from then on, what more do you have for us? Earlier on, we saw so many people coming out to vote. Is that still the situation currently?
Thank you very much indeed. Presently, I am at Ezagolu Junction or Civic Center. According to the presiding officer, voting commenced around 9:30 thereabouts, but there were some little hitches. The impression here is that there's still voter apathy. According to him, he said that out of the over 700 registered voters here, only about 60 came out to vote. So there is a little. What could be responsible is what we will really have to find out. Apart from this, the voters comported themselves well, according to him. The issue of vote buying and some other issues, nothing like that happened. And the presiding officer is right here with me. Maybe he would like to shed light on what has happened since the exercise continued. Please introduce yourself, your name.
My name is Elusamu Ayomide.
Okay.
I'm from Edo State.
Okay. Please, can you tell the world what has happened since?
So far, it's been going smoothly. So, for now, it's been going smoothly. No issue of vote buying. I've not seen it. So,
okay.
Something.
Well,
like
you told me earlier on that there were some little itches that have
yes.
to do with the cubicle.
The cubicle, yes.
Can you shed light on that?
Pertaining to that, I think INEC need to work on their cubicles because most of them are like expired. That's what I would say because they are no more strong anymore. So we are just managing the one we have because there is no more. So we are just managing it. That's what I can say. So they should work on that.
Okay, what happened to the one earlier? Is it that it got broken?
On getting here, we got to see that it's broken already. So it's broken. So when we check, we see that it has expired. But it's not good. You can check it, that is there. So it's not good. So we need to at least find a way around it. So it should be useful.
How many registered voters are here? And how many people have voted?
We have 712 voters in this polling unit.
Yes.
So as of now, I think we have 69 that have voted.
What could be responsible?
I think it's a party. I don't know. People are not turning up. People are not coming here. At least out of 712, we are still having 69, which is very, very, very low. So the percentage is very low. So it's not supposed to be so, but I don't know why people are not coming out. I think it's a party. I don't know. People are afraid of maybe violence or stuff like that. But so far, nothing of such. At least, as you can say, I'm calm. So there's nothing like that. So thank God.
Okay. Thank you very much. You have heard from the presiding officer, Samuel Ayomide Enu, who has given us an update. Right now here, you see the security officers, the police officers. They have been here doing their job, and my conversation with them, according to them, that there was decorum, law and order are being maintained, and they said that anybody that violates the law or try to play pranks will be decisively dealt with. So this is the situation right now at this polling unit. As we proceed here, we will go ahead to check other areas to see how the exercise is going on before the close of voting today.
Now, Friday, you talked about low voter turnouts, but I'm wondering if you've been able to see any of the vulnerable groups turn out for voting. I'm talking about people with disabilities. How well have they been taken care of by INEC?
Can you hear me?
Friday, I can hear you, but it seems you cannot hear us. So I would like to say thank you so much, for joining us and giving us this update.
Hi.
Well, we'll now move on.
Hello?
Friday, can you hear me?
Hello?
Friday, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, I was speaking with the presiding officer here. I don't know if you got that. Can we go back to him?
Friday Oloko, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. Well, we've been getting updates from Anambra State on what's happening with the election. It seems there's some form of voter apathy. It also seems, considering how much we've heard of so much security deployment, it seems the security forces are not as much as would have been expected to be on ground. Earlier, we saw the YPP candidate, allege that a mayor, a local government mayor, has been going about, intimidating his opponents. But then, all in all, it seems the process is going smoothly, despite, anxiety that there might be a breakdown of law and order.
Indeed, Tokwe. There was a few years ago when I had to cover, one or two elections in the past. The issue of vote buying, I did witness one or two in the process. It's unfortunate, it's recurring. Every now and then you see this scenario. And despite the best efforts of the authorities, it seems to have defied solutions regarding that. People, maybe because of poverty and some other issues, they're still engaging in this act. But as you said, there's been a lot of calm in this election so far. We're happy for that. And of course, we have Emeka Monye, who is joining us from Oka, I believe. Emeka, if you're there. All right. All right, what more can you tell us about where you are at the moment? What's the update? All right, you're still watching the Anambra elections, and a bit of a shouting match there at we can just about see one of the voters there. I'm not sure if it's the governor, the incumbent, seeking okay, that's Charles Soludo, who is seeking a second term, voting, or about to vote, with so many camera and media also trying to gain attention there on his actions so far. Tokwe, what do you make of it?
Well, I mean, it does look like tempers are a bit high here, but hopefully everything will continue to go on smoothly. I've heard some analysts, describe this election as more than a test of party strength. They say it's going to be a battle of influence amongst powerful politicians and, of course, the wealthy entrepreneurs. But hopefully everything goes smoothly. Now, earlier when we were talking about vote buying, you made a statement. You said despite the efforts of security officials, that it persists. But then I'm wondering really if the security officials have given their best in actually curbing vote buying. Have they really made examples, of these politicians, that engage in vote buying?
It wasn't about the security forces I was trying to elaborate. I'm talking about even at the federal level itself, at the state level. I'm talking about governance itself, addressing the roots of the problems. We're talking about poverty, which to a large extent seems to be the main driver of, people just getting peanuts, as Awal mentioned earlier. And it's like mortgaging your future for those peanuts. And at the end of the day, you get what you get regarding representative governance, as it were. So, it's unfortunate it's still rearing its head. It has defied some major solutions. I don't know about the issue of getting, security forces, the police involved in it, because sometimes it happens right in front of you, but then again, we're not seeing that much interest on the part of them, or how many has actually been reported in that regard. And even, as it were, there will be cases of denials of these happenings, despite that occurrence. But you know, we can't take away from this election the resoluteness of the Anambra people coming out to vote. You know, we keep looping one of this footage of this elderly person, and even a disabled woman right there you were talking about earlier, and some of the disabled and those who are ordinarily will not be able to partake in these elections, but they're coming out one way or another.
But it's such a shame, though, that there still seems to be some form of voter apathy, you know, despite all the education awareness campaign, you know, that we've had over the need for people to come out and vote.
Indeed.
And it also seems there's still a lack of trust, you know, in INEC's ability to deliver. If you read comments that are online now regarding this election, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's usually calm in the mornings and the afternoons, but then the real rigging takes place during the collation process. And it's such a shame, you know, that INEC has not been able to build confidence, you know, or to dispel those sort of thoughts in the minds of the public. So it really, you know, makes me think that we still have a lot of work to do regarding our elections here in Nigeria.
We can just about make out the incumbent seeking a second term, Charles Soludo, casting his ballot with intense media attention to him right now live in Oka. You know, I was just saying a few years ago at his first attempt at trying to be governor, he had to wait for several hours because at his award, there were several people. There was only one, if I remember correctly, voting station or machine there, and they had problems with it. So he had to wait several hours before he could actually cast his ballot. But as we see here, it seems to run smoothly. Despite a lot of media attention on him, he seems to have cast his ballot in record time within a short moment there. And of course, they're trying to get through that phalanx of media people there with our correspondent Emeka Monye. Hopefully we'll get back to him. And of course, you know, earlier as we even spoke about the calm nature of these elections, despite initial apprehensions that things might go awry and some you know, non-state actors might also, you know, chip in and disrupt the process. But that hasn't happened, despite the fact that there's low security presence as well.
That's really very reassuring, actually, and I hope it stays that way. You know, so just a recap of the candidates that have voted so far. ADC governorship candidate John Chuma has voted. We know that Nicholas Ukachukwu of the APC has voted. YPP candidate Paul Chukuma has voted. And then, of course, Charles Soludo, the incumbent governor, who is seeking a second term. You know, we just saw him cast his vote in his local government.
Yeah. So I think to a large extent, things are glowing like clockwork, as people will say. And, okay, it seems... all right, we seem to be getting some audio. I'm not sure how we're getting that, so...
Well, by law, by the Electoral Act and INEC guidelines.
All right, still on the issue, as you can see, this voting process cuts across all ages, and we're seeing quite a number of elderly people coming out to exercise their franchise on this election so far. And earlier, I remember our correspondent was talking about people with stunted growth that were mistaken for, you know, young people, underaged voters. But, you know, that was clarified in record time, and I guess to a large extent they were able to vote at the end of the day. So it's still going on smoothly, and somehow things seems to be working the way they should, what you would expect from an election, even if it's an off-season one, regarding this. And earlier I was also asking about this being a litmus test for the new INEC chairman. And I know this is an off-season, but a general one is still afoot. But if things remain the way they are, I think it'll be a win-win for him, you think?
Well, definitely, you know, but then they need to pay attention to details. For instance, in our interview with Friday Oloko, he spoke with one of the agents there who talked about expired cubicle. You know, these are quite embarrassing reports that really shouldn't be coming out of our elections. So hopefully all this will be worked on for the other off-cycle election leading into 2027. And then, of course, the issue of we've heard reports of voting materials arriving late in some areas, you know, and maybe voting might be extended, you know, in such areas. So hopefully all these will be looked at in previous elections that will be happening, off-cycle elections, and of course the 2027 general election. But so far it seems everything is going well in Anambra State. Voting is going on as it should. It's calm. There's been a report of vote buying, but at least there's no ballot snatching. There's no voter intimidation so far that we have heard, and hopefully things stay sane. We've seen Governor Charles Soludo cast his vote. We've also seen other candidates, you know, like the YPP candidate, Paul Chukuma, Nicholas Ukachukwu of the APC has also cast his vote, and everything really seems to be going on smoothly at the moment.
Which begs the question, Tope, can you have 100% hitch-free elections, especially now?
I mean, even if we're not aiming for 100%, I think we can aim for 95 or 98. Sure. I mean, it's possible considering the amount of money we keep pumping into our elections, the amount of reforms we keep carrying out. Hopefully, you know, I believe we have what it takes to get it right, but I don't know if we have the political will. Because it does seem like most times, you know, our leaders pay a lot of lip service to giving us credible elections. But then at the end of the day, it is about what really favors them. So I guess that's why they trust, you know, public trust is so low regarding if we can actually get it right with our elections. But then I guess we'll just have to wait and see, and then put a little confidence in the new INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amukmito, who has promised us, you know, that things will be different and that he will deliver a free and fair election in 2027. I'd say we should give him a benefit of the doubt and see how it plays out.
Indeed, but it'll be disheartening. Some of the same issues we've seen over the time that are recurring, you know, coming into these elections. Hopefully, like you said, those will be addressed shortly. You're still watching the Anambra elections, and of course, we've just shown you some visuals of the incumbent seeking a second term, Charles Soludo, voting at his polling unit, seems to have done that moments ago. And of course, you know, the elections are still on. It closes by 4 p.m. Hopefully it stays that way. There's calm, largely. People are exercising their electoral franchise as it should be in an orderly fashion. Few skirmishes here and there, but not enough to override what we're seeing here, that people are coming out to vote without fear or intimidation and exercising their voting rights.
Well, we'll take a quick break on Newsday, and when we return, we'll have more on the Anambra governorship election. Please stay with us.
Jones, pan here. I think one way to say it is that it's been relatively very peaceful. And going on in some places.
Okay, so turn it this way.
The election day, and as always you'll be getting calls from all across the state, and I have been doing so. I've been receiving numerous calls from across the entire state. I think one way to say it is that it's been relatively very peaceful and going on smoothly. Some places, some glitches here and there, but like there's some polling units I got a report in Olumbanasa that were not where the beavers wasn't working, were not working as expected. But all said and done, I think on the average it will be said to be going on smoothly and as expected. The only concerns we've received is one or two places, particularly in Newi South local government, where we understand that massive vote buying, some even being paid one of the candidates, particularly from that local government, he seems to be desperate to win the local government, so he's been sharing 15,000 to voters. And I said, even if they share 100,000, never mind. Let the people just vote, count the votes. Doesn't matter for us, and we're fairly convinced that on the basis of the votes, one man, one vote, that we're going to win and win landslide. No question about that. Now, as for the, you've seen the process here. It's quite seamless, but you can see the crowd. The crowd still to vote, and it's about 1:30. So in the next 1 hour, voting is supposed to close officially. But again, the rule is that once you are in the polling unit before 2:30, you must vote. So I expect that all these people, you can still see a few, I'm sure there's still more than 100 persons yet to vote here. So I expect that they will all vote.
Okay. All right, Your Excellency, are you happy with the number of turnouts? Considering the last election, we have less than 10% participation. Are you happy with the number of turnouts in this election?
I cannot know the number of turnouts. How can I know the number of turnouts when voting is still ongoing? There's no way you know until voting closes and votes are counted. When you see the number of voters that are credited, and then those who voted, and so on and so forth, before you can comment on turnout. For now, we don't know. All you hear is that, I tell you, it's going on well.
All right, Your Excellency, sir, you've made some very remarkable recommendation about the election process. My question is, how confident are you in terms of victory, and are you sure the party will sweep across the 21 local governments?
Let me tell you, let me be clear. We said this all through the campaign. We have opponents, but we have not seen the opposition. And but even then, we have not taken the votes of the people for granted. And that's why we're literally the only party, the only candidate that cries across the entire 21 local governments, the entire 326 wards, the markets, streets, roads, everywhere. Even though everybody says nobody is competing against, but we don't take any vote for granted. And yes, we are. The only thing we hear that is actually a concern, and we hope it's not going to happen, is that one party, I don't want to mention the candidate, that their only strategy is that they have written results which they want to swap during the collation process. That they will want to swap them. They were even trying to tell, they had meetings with polling agents telling them not to write the results properly, not to upload the results on IREV, and so on. And so they can have room to be able to manipulate. But we have confidence in the system, that the system eventually will sort it all out. It's vigilance. People are vigilant. We're organized. We're united. And we'll follow the process. From the polling unit, we'll follow it to the collation at the ward. And from the ward, we'll follow through to the local government and to the state. And if once the system works, we have absolutely no doubt we're going to win the 21 local governments. Thank you very much. That's no one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Calm down.